A lot of people are like, man, it was COVID. You must have you must have written a ton of songs about. And I was like, no, I've watched a lot of television.
What was a binge watch that you watched during all of COVID?
I started watching Game of Thrones,
Oh, gosh.
and I watched all of it. And my wife ignored me the whole time.
I am here with Aaron Goodvin. Aaron, how are you doing today?
So good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How excited are you to be at the CCMAs?
It's so exciting. You know, we've waited for, it just feels like 10 years since we've been able to see each other. It just feels like so long. It's honestly, I feel out of place. I'm usually, we go to it every year and be like, you know, and now I'm just literally, they put CCMAs on Thanksgiving in the States. My wife's American, so she made this giant turkey dinner. So I'm still dealing with that. So I'm still trying to wake up from that coma. So, but yeah, it's awesome.
Thanksgiving is the best, though. You eat so much good food, and then you feel like crap after, but I mean, it's worth it, isn't it?
It's totally worth it. My wife makes a mean turkey, so I ate a lot of turkey.
Now, you were saying that you live in Nashville now, and you have a couple of dogs. So the dogs are at home with your wife?
No, my wife is here. But my wife has a lot of family in Tennessee, Kentucky, and so just recently my wife's cousin Savannah moved in with us with her dogs. So we have 3 dogs at the house and 3 people, and so she stayed at home with them. And actually, my dad is down south helping us just finish building our deck. So he's working on the house, doing a bunch of stuff like that. He's journeyman carpenter, has been for 35 years or something. So we use Dad for a lot of work. So
Well, they have company now, the dogs. The dogs have company.
They have a lot of company, and they'll be totally fine. They'll be fine.
And now, Aaron, you are nominated for Interactive Artist of the Year Award, along with Songwriters of the Year Award with Ed Hill and Jimmy Ritchie for Every Time You Take Your Time. Congratulations on that, I just want to say.
Thank you so much.
And now you released an album titled Lucky Stars. So take me through the making of this album.
So, Lucky Stars, it's basically, this record is so exciting for us because my producer, Matt McClure, kind of came in the 11th hour of the last record. My first producer, we had some time constraints and we were trying to get him in, and then I moved on to Matt because he could do it right away, and we had all these deadlines and all this stuff, and so Matt came in at the 11th hour, but he sort of had a vision. He made that record and then sort of had a vision of like what the next music should be, and kind of pitched me that vision, which I totally bought into. So we feel like this is our first record together, even though we've already had one. This is like really our first one. So we just tried to focus on songs that would, you know, sound amazing on the radio, that still had some lyrical content that is kind of like, you know, I guess my thing. I'm really a stinger on lyrics, so we put this record together during the pandemic. There's a few songs that didn't make the last record a lot of people are like, man, it was COVID. You must have you must have written a ton of songs about. And I was like, no, I watched a lot of television. Like, I didn't write. It's really strange because a lot of people did. They picked up on writing. I didn't love the Zoom thing. I'm okay with doing it, but like the Zoom co-writes, I'd rather be in the room with somebody, which is why I love being at the CCMAs this year, because we're actually around people. But, you know, for me, that's a big thing. So, you know, this record, I pulled a lot of songs that I kind of already had. I started writing for the next record after the first record, so I had, you know, a year and a half of writing straight, and I write a ton of songs when I do write. So this record is just like, you know, it was so much fun to make. My fans picked a song off this record called About Mexico that told me that I had to record it or they'd stop following me. So I recorded it for them, and it's just been an awesome experience. And, you know, we already have a number 1 off it. It's incredible. So
now, I know this is a really hard question to get asked, but if you had to pick, what would be your favorite song on the record?
Favorite song where?
On the record.
On this record?
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
I know it's hard, but
It's so
I have to ask. It's usually the first one that comes to mind. That always is the favorite.
Well, then You Ain't would be my favorite song on the record. It kind of came in at the last minute. We wrote the song 2 weeks before we recorded it, kind of beat out something else that we had. And I just have to say You Ain't, although I love every song on the EP. So
Of course, you're gonna love every single song. I mean, it's your album, right?
That's right. That's right.
And now you were just mentioning that you watch a lot of Netflix shows, right? You watch a lot of TV. So, what was a binge watch that you watched during all of COVID? Because
So when I start watching the show, I can't stop. So like I get like addicted, and so I just have a very addictive behavior. So over the pandemic, I started watching Game of Thrones,
oh gosh,
and I watched all of it. And my wife ignored me the whole time. So it was but because she's just not really into that stuff at all, she'd like look over and be like, "What are you watching?" And I was like, "It's Game of Thrones." And I watched the whole thing. I watched all, 7 or 8 seasons? I don't know.
No, that's so boring. I'm with your wife on that one. I'm sorry, Aaron. I was expecting maybe Tiger King. I'm like, that was a good one.
Oh, I did watch Tiger. We did watch Tiger King together. There's new Tiger King episodes.
Yes, there are. Yeah.
You need to get on that.
Well, me too, actually. I only watched a couple. And last question I'm going to ask. I just want to take it back a bit because I'm a big Rascal Flats fan, I have to say. And I know you were on tour with them. So how exciting was that? And what did you learn from such a legendary country group?
It was incredible. We those guys are so good at what they do, and literally when I did meet them and chat with them a bit, they're like, we've been on the road for 25 years straight, which is part of why I think they called it, because they just, it's a weird thing as an artist to try and, strike when the iron's hot and you're just out, but then they just never stopped having hits. So they were out there nonstop. But, I think one of the things you learn is just there's always another level. And I think, as an artist, if you stop at any point in time and you don't keep learning and keep growing, and those guys could have went for another 25 years. They just had a ton of hits, and they're still having songs on the radio that are still relevant, still has a voice, So it's just one of those things that I think you just have to. I just learned from them. They told me they never stopped learning from every show, from every song, from everything. So I think that's kind of how you continue to evolve. And it was an amazing tour to be on. I literally watched them play "Bless a Broken Road" every night. It was so great. That's just awesome in itself. So.
That song is timeless, but that band is timeless. Rascal Flats are truly timeless. Well, thank you so much, Aaron, for chatting with me on Country with Celine. I hope you enjoy the CCMA weekend.
Will do. Thanks for chatting.
'Cause a boy like me's only thinking one thing. Gotta get you way out where the crickets sing. Down a 2-lane road till you hear a big bang. Then before